Welcome to Yin, the Yin train. Go ahead and Yin, that's tonight's class. Go ahead and drop in, and drop Yin. If you're just hopping on, I'm Bridget, and I love this practice. It is the thing, it is a thing that really points me into the direction of myself. And so I treasure this rolling out of my mat and setting myself up, because I know as soon as I start to do that, I know what's coming. I know that some time and some space to really nourish and to care for this system is coming shortly. And so I hope that as you set yourself up this evening for our Yin offering, and that some of that feedback can start to come through and reassure you in these times where there's not a lot of reassurance. So may those small elements of coming into your practice be that sweet reminder that you can in fact come into yourself, and that is what the invitation is here this evening. So this practice is to feel at home. To feel at home in yourself, to feel at home in your body, in your mind, in your heart, because you belong. You belong right where you are. So we'll use the breath to really anchor us into this present moment, into this time. In Yin, it's not super breath directed. In Vinyasa, we're really moving and flowing with the breath, and in Yin, the breath is more of a sweet, subtle reminder to pay attention to what's happening, less directing and guiding the force of motion. So we're just going to start sitting down to breathe, sitting down to come home to ourselves. So sit comfortably in a way that you do, and close your eyes. And let that gaze start to shift to the internal process that's happening. And the breath now, it's just easy. It is just on this autonomic nervous system platform of happening because it needs to, because you're alive. And here we're just going to settle into the mind to observe. Settle into the mind and the breath. And watch how we embody ourselves, watch how we arrive, and just let the breath happen as it does. And then as the breath is happening and as this shape is occurring, the seat of yourself, just start to take note of what it's like to arrive in essence, to arrive in yourself in this moment. What have you moved through today? Did you get outside? Did you watch a lot of movies? Did you send some love out to humanity? Just pay attention to your own system, your own embodiment of where are you at? And then let the reassurance of the breath remind you that you can anchor to this place that is present, that is aware, that's paying attention. And we pay attention in this practice so that we can meet ourselves as we are. And then as conscious beings move into and towards a more effective approach to being alive, a more conscious ability to meet what needs to be met and to greet with nourishment and patience and compassion, care and love. So breathe. And then circle sweep your arms, reach them up over your head as the breath comes in, reach tall and long. And then bring your palms down together to your heart center. As you empty the lungs fully, all of the breath is gone now, and we're just going to take 3 ohms, the universal sound of connection, of vibration, of drawing us in together. So if you are comfortable to make sound where you are, then let it come through. And if you're not, just let the vibration and the sound meet you where you are. So we'll take one cleansing breath. Inhale. Open mouth. And then 3 ohms. And bring some intention in and some care as you greet the system of yourself, and practice what you need this evening. Open your eyes, roll out your wrists, move your head around, wiggle your toes, uncross your easy seat. And then this is a place that we're going to use the bolster. And as I said, if you don't have a bolster, grab a couch cushion or maybe 2 pillows. This first shape is a restorative shape over the hump. So the bolster is horizontal on the mat, and then your hips are going to come right on top of the bolster, and then the upper body drapes down. You can find palms at the top of your mat. Forearms are meeting together through the palms, and then you place your forehead down here. If you don't like to have your face down, then you can certainly turn onto your temple or onto your cheek. And in this yin practice, we remain in the shape for several minutes. So make any micro adjustments that you need in order to be comfortable. The hip points are the highest point here, and then the upper body is in complete rest. And then it kind of helps to give a little shimmy here with the buns and the legs side to side. Just go ahead and let go. And the backs of the legs get soft, and the tops of the feet are at ease in a resting space. And in this prostration position, as we're resting the front line on the ground, this is a beautiful place to connect with the breath. A beautiful place to observe and witness the full pranic field. And go ahead and drop in. And let yourself be held. And this shape is intended to nourish and to balance the chi, balance the energy of how we are, and what we've moved through. And in these times, though we're not depleted in the ways that we're used to being depleted, certainly our nervous systems and our physical structures have different ways of being emptied. And so this shape is to really refuel, recharge, and fill up, to nourish. Hips are heavy. I'm not holding on. The back line is completely at rest, and the front line is completely absorbed in the ground. As always in our yin practice, if something is feeling really good and you'd like to remain in the shape, then you just do that. Go ahead. And if at any time you need to readjust or shape shift, then of course go ahead as well. And if something feels like it's too much, give yourself space to get out of it. So another breath here, or 2 or 3. And also in the spirit of yin, we're moving slowly. Nothing is going to happen quickly. And we're giving our bodies really time to integrate, time to receive, time to nourish. So as slowly and as sweetly as you can, go ahead and lift the face away from the hands. We'll adjust palms underneath shoulders, finding the strength of the upper body. Give a little press. If it feels good, you can give an upward facing dog shape. Just lift the heart, drop the shoulders. And then we're moving into all fours from here. Go ahead and press the bolster or your pillows or your couch cushion out to the side. And then start to circle the hips. Make some motion with the hips. And let the hip points move forward. Let them press back. Side to side, just how you can find some organic motion and some movement that feels good. And then we're going to work towards full frog. So this shape can be somewhat uncomfortable. And so if it is, then I'm going to suggest half frog. I'll keep it to the side here so you can know how to set up, but it is more comfortable if you do this going wide on your mat, but I'll just show you this half frog. So half frog is one leg out, knee and hip and heel make a 90-degree angle, and then upper body just drops again onto that stacking of the palms and releasing of the upper body. If you're choosing this shape, then go ahead and choose which leg, right or left, and then drop in. Be here. If you're choosing full frog, and also if you're choosing half frog, then I'll cue you when we're about halfway through so that you can switch sides. If you're choosing full frog, then you're gonna come out with knees wide. And again, if you do this horizontally on the mat, then there's some more support there. It's also kind to grab the bolster if you want to, or the pillow or the cushion for the upper body. And then the knees and the heels and the hips again come out to that 90-degree angle, and then the upper body can just rest down. And if this feels pretty intense, certainly it can. You can skip the bolster entirely, and you can just come onto your forearms. If you have blocks at home or books that you want to set your forearms on, then that can help keep you elevated. And certainly, if you feel like your hip flexors are really pulling you back, that's not what we want. And so you can even come up higher. Like I said, that half frog shape is a really safe place to go so that you're not really pulling or straining here. And if you are in full frog, the intention is to calm and soothe. And so give yourself space to do that. If anything feels uncomfortable, know that you have all the room that you need to shape shift and adjust and make a different shape. And then the breath it's just a steady stream of awareness and of life, force, energy moving through. If you are in your half frog, this would be the place to switch sides. So if you're in half frog, then you'll come slowly up using the strength of the upper body. Pull the knee in, maybe give a little shift side to side, and then adjust out with the opposite knee to 90. Lower down with the hip points, and then stack the palms. And let your face find them back to the hands. And just enjoy this side of your half frog. For those that are still in full frog, probably starting to feel it now, yeah? This is a couple minutes in where you might really start to feel some resistance. Go ahead and feel that. Feel what it's like to resist, and don't bypass the resistance, just notice it. Certainly if there's pain that comes with the resistance, then shapeshift and move out. But if it's not painful, then just observe. If it's something that's moving through, let it move through. Let it pass. Yin is a practice that really collects the wisdom of the nervous systems. We're getting into our fascia, into our connective tissues, and that system directly relates and informs the way that we respond to life in our nervous systems. So go ahead and be in the shape as long as it's nourishing, and let what needs to pass through, maybe an old story or an idea, or maybe even a physical embodiment of pain or injury, and see if you can use the breath to anchor you and allow the motion of the energy to pass through. Okay, so half pigeon or half frog and full frog. We're gonna slowly use the strength of the arms to come back underneath the shoulders and press up. Shape shift, one leg at a time. Back in. And here, coming back vertically on the mat. Go ahead and find those hip circles once again with the hip points. Let them guide and direct the motion. And then we're gonna come into a child's pose, but first we're gonna come into a heart melting child's pose, and then into a side stretch child's pose. So the hips stay above the knees, and the knees can be out just a little bit wider than hips width. And then palm the fingertips forward towards the top of your mat, and then lower the elbows, lower the chest, and then lower your forehead. And if you've got a really long upper body, then you might need to shape shift your knees back slightly. Let this be the heart melter. Really stretch and breathe into the underbelly of the arms. If this feels pretty intense or too much, this would be a place that you could bring a block or something supportive under the face so there's not quite such a deep angle of stretch. But again, this shape is to nourish, to provide support to the system that is adapting, that is learning, that is at home all the time. So this is a place to rest and to pass through. And then we're going to adjust right from here, lifting the skull up, and then keep the shape essentially the same. Just drop the hips back towards the heels. If this is too great a flexion for the knees, then go ahead and grab a bolster or some pillows to bring underneath you. And then we're going to move right from here, from child's pose, into walking the fingertips over to the right so that there's a nice left side body stretch. Sorry, my nose itches. Drop the face, melt the heart in between the legs, and reach the left fingertips far off the mat so that the left rib cage, intercostals there, and the connective tissue of the space of the rib cage down into the hips. Get some room to breathe. Go ahead and drop in. And observe the breath. Watch it as it happens. Maybe even celebrate it and express some gratitude for the very breath that you breathe. And then with as little effort as possible, let's peel the heart up from this place and back to the center to walk the fingertips over to the left, and then drop the forehead, drop the heart, and let the right side body get long. And if the mind starts to tell a story here or wander off onto a journey, just see if it can come back to the breath. And then as we breathe, and if the mind is still journeying, then we'll just bypass the mind and come into the heart to feel the experience of this shape, and what it's like for you right now. A yin offering is also a really pleasant time to offer sound and vibration. And so you'll hear these little moans that come through. That really helps to soften and to dive a little bit deeper into this space of connective tissue. So if you find yourself able to make sound and vibration, then go ahead. Go ahead. And with as little effort as possible, we'll slowly lift the skull, peel up. Ooh, take your time. We're not moving quickly at all. Pass through all fours. Tuck your toes, plant your palms, and lift your hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. Give some motion to the skull. Sorry. And then as slowly and as generously as you can, we'll walk the feet forward. Be generous with time here. And slow to move. And really allow a sweet stretch to happen as you walk forward. The place that we're going to land is standing forward fold. With a nod of the head and a shake side to side. This can be a happy place for some blocks if you have them and want to use them. Really let the upper body release. If you don't need blocks, then just set them to the side. And this isn't a place where we're pulling our upper bodies towards the ground. It's a really relaxed surrender. So the knees are soft here. There's not a straight leg here or even a half lift. It's really soft. The belly is resting. The upper body is hanging, and the skull is as heavy as it can be. And let gravity do this. And let gravity have you. And as you hang forward and create some vibration, find gratitude again for breath. Find gratitude again for the way that you make the shape. In the spirit of our yin offering this evening, Sunday nights at the studio here also include chanting. And so I've been bringing that in to keep that life movement happening in the energy of this room. And the chant that we're going to do tonight is to tap into the creative energy of ourselves and tap into wisdom. So creative wisdom. I know that in these COVID days, I've really been struggling with creativity because there has been a fight or flight response there hasn't been a lot of room for creative energy. And so I'm really seeking that and pursuing that in my time, to not necessarily go in my mind and let it draw me down the story of should be doings and happenings, but really just allow the creative energy to flow. And so we'll chant here in a little bit, but I just wanted to start to bring that through. Go ahead and roll up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Empty coat sleeves for arms. More breath through. As you rise, fix your waistband, your shirt. Let the head lift up. Let the blood flow. We are upside down there for a while. This is going to be our yang interlude. So we're going to just get some blood moving and some energy flowing. So let's just start with the shoulders. Inhale the shoulders up, and then exhale, let them drop. And take a few cycles like that. Just, oof, yeah. Feel the shoulders. Let them move. And then bring your feet out just a little bit wider than hips width apart. And this is a motion called angel wings with the breath. And so imagine that you are finding the wings of your angels, your ancestors. Inhale and sweep your arms up all the way, big stretch. And then as you exhale, it's a release of the arms and a sweet prayer. And then an inhale to sweep back up high. And then exhale, pray. Breathe in, breathe out. And let your blood flow. Let the body follow the breath this time. A few more rounds. Last two. And inhale, circle, sweep up. And then drop. And then let the upper body flail around the base of the hips. And get some chi thumps going here. Let the hands strike the body. We're heading into the lower half, so go ahead and take some mallets with the hands and thump, thump, thump. The insides of the legs, the hip points, the belly, the heart. Watch out for the mic. Find your arms. Shoulders, forearms, elbows, and then the back line too. Sound, let it escape. And then just give a sweet little shake. Okay. So we're going to come up to the top of the mat. Feet are out wider than hips width. This is a great place for blocks. If you have them, if you don't, that's all right. You can make do without them. So feet are out wide. Palms of the hands are going to come down to the insides of the feet. And we'll step the left leg back into a wide lizard. So ensure that your feet are on separate planes and even wider than separate planes. The right foot is all the way on the right side and the left foot is all the way tracking on the left side. So lots of space for the hips, yeah? We're not here and like stuck in the hips. We're opening up, becoming more sensitive, sensitizing and opening here. palms are finding the earth, and this is a really sweet spot for some blocks. Forearms can melt down to them. And then just decide if you want to stay active here in the left hip flexors, here. Or if you want to release down, you can drop your left knee. The right knee, please be certain that it isn't being pulled out by the hip. The right knee can fall out, but you might want to turn your toes in order to protect the knee. So we don't want to feel like the toes are forward and the knee is yanking out to the side. That can really irk up the hip joints and the knee. So let your toes lead if the right knee is going to fall. But if that structure is nice, and it is, then let it be there. And we've got some minutes here on this side to breathe. Go ahead and let the mind come in again. Bypass the mind with the breath and go into the experience, the embodiment of the shape and what lives here for you. Pay attention to that. Give space to that. Sensitize, open, and nourish that. And be breathed. Feeling at home in this body. Feeling at home in yourself. We've got all this time to be at home. So let's really live it. Let's really live into the embodiment, the practice of being alive and well in ourselves, at home in this space, in this vessel, this creation that we are. When we hop into lizard, and when I say hop, I mean go really slowly into lizard. This is when maybe some dormant energy starts to circulate. And so this space here is to notice what comes up. The invitation is to notice what's circulating, what may be dormant, and what might be rising. Can you give it some breath? Can you give it some time? As I said, if any shape gets intense, then certainly give yourself some room to shapeshift and maneuver and let it pass, let it through, and then maybe melt back down. Let gravity have the hips. Soften your face, relax your jaw. And then from this place, move as slowly as you can. Rise on up. Move the blocks. Plant the palms. Tuck the left toes and lift the back knee. We're going to come from here into wide-legged forward fold. And we're going to rotate the right toes towards the side of the mat and drop the left heel. And then from here, I'm smiling at you upside down, let both heels melt down and maybe even lift and fan the toes. You can turn the toes in to get a little outside of the calf stretch. And then this is another kind place for blocks or a stool. I think I used that last week. Just empty the contents of your mind into the earth and get into the heart's rhythm, into the affection of caring for yourself and living in yourself, embodying your essence, your truth, your creativity. Yeah. Let sounds through. If it feels good to reach your arms through your legs, you can let the head rest a little bit heavier. And then as slowly as you entered this shape, we'll go ahead and shape shift back towards the top of the mat. Palms are going to plant down on the inside of the right foot, and then we're going to launch and lift. Step the left foot up to meet the right. Inhale, offer up a flat back, just let the blood flow. And then exhale to fold, plant the palms, and step the right foot. Back, back, back. And then we're going even into a wider base. So right foot kind of scooches over towards the right back of the mat. Left foot scooches over to the left side of the top of the mat. And then there's some room to boogie here. There's some space to get funky. We are, after all, riding the yin train. Come on and ride it. And then pull your blocks in if you want to find your forearms. And then decide if you want to stay active back through the top side of the right leg, or passive, drop the right knee. I like to drop the right knee. And just let this shape be as kind as it can be. And then again, I'm just moving the blocks so you can see the toes here. If your left knee is starting to fall out, then just give the toes a little turn so that the alignment isn't toes forward, knee out, hip in. If the toes are out to the side, then yes, it's okay for the left knee to release out. But again, we're going to be here for a few minutes. And so the invitation is to set something up that's sustainable and kind and nourishing and loving. Not go to the fullest expression of the pose now. Ready, set, go. No. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. And that's the chant that we're going to do at the end of the practice. And chanting is a part of all of our yogic practices, all the balance of the philosophy of this practice and the physicality of this practice. And this chant specifically, like I said, is tuning into the creative energy. And so I like to find chanting in the asana, in the shapes, as we move, can help to open up those creative forces, or whatever the mantra is, to affirm the situation. And alongside the nectar of the wisdom of the chant is the vibration, the tone, and the sound that it creates. So it really helps to open us up. Our whole system responds to sound. When you're ready, come on up. This time, instead of that wide-legged forward fold, we're going to come into a deep Malasana squat. So plant your palms and then tuck your right toes under, lift up off that back knee, and then launch and lift the right leg up, and then set your buns down. Lift your heart, use the elbows. I'm going to turn to face you here. Use the elbows to press into the knees, palms come together, thumbs to sternum, and then lift up out of the spine. Yeah. So this place can be pretty intense, and if it is, then I'd recommend finding a block so that you can continue to elevate the spine. We're going to go into a version of this that is rounded, but the intention here isn't to be like, okay, got it, I'm doing it, good, I'm on the yin train, it's so fun. The intention is to stay upright, to lift and to open, and to fan the heart. So If you need to get some support underneath your butte, then please do that. And if it feels good for your sacrum to hang, we're just letting gravity take the spine. And then palms of the hands together. See if you can relax your glutes. Yeah, they're not holding on, they're soft. Yeah. And then palms touch, heart center lifts, shoulders drop. Close your eyes and breathe. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. And from this upright space, we'll go ahead and relax. So release the arms, release the skull, and just drop the face. Move the head side to side. And then we're gonna sit down. Oof, goosh. Oh yeah, kind of feels good to find some motion with the hips there and let that through. And then go ahead and scooch back about halfway on your mat so that there's space out in front of you for the legs to extend, and then there's also space back behind you for the back line to go. Just get cozy. And then grab your cushion, your bolster, and have it close by. This is going to be, again, a resting shape. Take the fists, the small Cheerio of your pinky side, and tap, tap, tap the legs. And then set your bolster on top of your legs as they're extended. Sometimes a block is kind here as well. You can just kind of see as you go down. We'll sweep the arms up high, breathe in, activate the backs of the legs, and then as you breathe out, just release onto the bolster. And then this is the place where maybe a block is kind, because then the forehead has somewhere to go. And let the whole upper body rest. Really releasing the spine. And be at home in yourself in this shape. Gravity will do what gravity does, which is bring you closer to her, to the earth. And so as we spend some time here, if you feel like the block becomes unnecessary, then maybe you just set your side of your face down, or even just stack your hands if the block is too high. But certainly release, relax, and bypass the thoughts if they're trailing, and really dive into the embodiment of how this feels. How is it to be here with yourself? And can some more breath come through? as you allow the time that it takes to drop in, go ahead and drop further. Release more. Surrender deeper. And then with as much sweetness and as little effort, then there will be this slow return to Dandasana. And some breath to guide you up. Let the blood flow. And then clear the props. And give a little tap, tap, tap with the legs. Okay, so we're going to head to the back line now, and we're going to do a couple of spinal twists. This is going to be a spinal twist with a toe grab. So I think maybe I'll do it this way first so that can show you how to do it. I'm not sure if you can see my legs really when I lay down, but so we'll head down to the back line and extend the right leg out long, and then bend the left knee up into the chest. And give a full in-breath. And then on the out-breath, the left leg crosses over to the right side. This is also a kind place for a block or a bolster, is underneath the left knee. So you can set the left knee down onto the block or onto the bolster. And then I'm hoping you can see this here. We're going to bend the right knee and use the peace fingers on the left hand, or just the whole hand, to grab onto the right foot. So the right hip flexors are getting a lot of length here, depending on how far you pull yourself in. And then the left leg is just really heavy. Drop down into the dirt or into the block. Oh. And then as gravity draws you nearer to her, you can move the block away if that feels good. But if you feel like that's really contorting or twisting the spine in an abrasive way, then just bring the block back or the bolster back. Just check in. And if you want to rinse the cervical spine, you can turn your gaze out over the left shoulder. And we'll take another couple breaths here to really cleanse and purify so that we can make space so that we can fill up with what's nourishing. And then with some sweetness, release the right leg back into length. Slowly roll the back of the hips back down to the ground. And then hug both knees into the chest. Rock side to side. And then extend the left leg long down towards the ground. Hug the right knee into the chest. Inhale. Let the right knee cross the body over to the right side. Maybe a block is helpful here. Let it rest on the earth or on the block. And then bend the left knee and take peace fingers or the whole hand to the outside, the top of the left foot. Extend the right arm and turn the gaze, or extend the left arm rather, and turn the gaze out over the right side. And then let the twist Do what the twist does. Cleanse and purify, and detoxifies, and bring some nourishing energy flooding back in. And as you let the breath and the wisdom of the breath come through fully, take another inhale, another exhale, enjoying the twist. And then unravel one limb at a time. Hug your knees back up into your chest. Give another rock from side to side. Take the soles of the feet up towards the sky. Bend the knees and pull the knees towards the armpits. Happy baby pose. Grab for the outside edge of the feet to keep the meridians of the heart open as you rock from side to side. And then soften in. Go ahead and drop the heels. Lengthen the arms. Extend the feet. Take a long body stretch. And then release the weight of the back line fully into the ground. Make any micro movements, any adjustments to let the sweet surrender come through, being held. And let the eyes close. In full corpse pose, full Savasana, to rest with ease as the back line is fully supported by the earth. May this be a moment of silence and surrender. And then let more breath through and allow sensation to come with it. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rock the back of your head side to side. Stretch the bones long once more. Reach. And then bend the knees. Roll over onto one side. Pause. May it be a place that you pause in gratitude. And then use the strength of your arms to draw you gently back up. Coming into the seat of yourself. And we'll close our practice with a chant. I have it here. I'll post a photo of this. This is our Portal of Awareness to Love book, our teacher training manual. And so, Om Namo Gurudev Namo. I bow to the creative energy of the infinite. Opening that divine channel of wisdom, will settle into the seat and take a big breath. And And then I'll just cycle through a few rounds, and if you feel comfortable, you can join in. And if you prefer to stay silent and just allow the resonance to permeate, then let it through. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. 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 Opening that portal of divine creativity for wherever you are in your practice, wherever you are in your home. All the light that I am bows to honor the brilliant light that you are. Thank you for your practice. Namaste.